Right now, while you're watching this video, someone in America is being told that the center of their vision is beginning to fail. By the time you finish watching, roughly 40 more people will hear the words age related macular degeneration. Most of them thought they just needed stronger glasses. The frightening part is not how common this condition has become. The frightening part is that the earliest warning signs are so subtle, most people ignore them for years. 11 million Americans are already living with AMD, and that number is expected to double by 2050. But here is the part almost nobody explains clearly. For many adults over 60, vision decline is not just about aging, it's also about nutrition. Three specific nutrients have been shown in major clinical trials to help protect the retina and slow the progression of vision damage. Yet millions of older adults are chronically low in all three. The part nobody is explaining clearly is that for most of you watching this, vision loss is not inevitable. It is nutritional. Three specific nutrients, when present at the right levels in your body, reduce your risk of advanced vision loss by up to 25%. And most adults over 60 are chronically deficient in all three of them. I'm Dr. Kalb. I study how nutrition affects aging eyes and how simple daily habits may help protect your vision as you get older. On this channel, we break down the science into simple, practical steps you can actually use. If you care about protecting your brain, heart, and vision as you age, subscribe now and give this video a like. Every week, we turn complex health research into simple habits that may genuinely improve your quality of life. In the next 20 minutes, you will learn exactly what macular degeneration is and why it accelerates after 60. You'll learn the three nutrients that the science says matter most for protecting your retina. You'll learn the five everyday situations where adults over 60 unknowingly increase their risk every single week. You'll get a matched five solution plan that you can begin this weekend. Most importantly, you will understand why adults over 60 need to take three specific actions in your daily nutrition routine, starting this week. This week, I'm going to give you the truth. The truth is calmer than the headlines, but it requires you to act. Let's begin. When most people hear the words vision loss, one of two things happens. Either they panic, they book an emergency eye appointment and start searching, am I going blind? At 2 in the morning, or they dismiss it entirely. They think, I had an eye exam 6 months ago, I'm fine. Both reactions miss the point. Here's what the American Academy of Ophthalmology actually says. For most adults, AMD progresses slowly, sometimes over 10 to 15 years. The general public is not facing sudden imminent blindness. That's the first reframe. But here is the second reframe, and this is the one that matters for you. AMD doesn't announce itself dramatically. It arrives quietly, in the middle of your ordinary life. It's in the moment you notice the center of a word looks slightly blurry. It's when a friend's face seems a little less sharp than it used to be. It's when you need more light to read the same page you read easily last year. Adults over 60 have a 30% higher rate of nutritional deficiency in the three key retinal protective nutrients compared to adults in their 40s. Think of your macula, the small central zone of your retina, like the lens of a camera. The nutrients we are about to discuss are the UV filter, the anti scratch coating, and the sensor cleaner. When those layers are thin, the damage compounds every single day, silently, until one morning the photos just aren't sharp anymore. That's the real risk, not a headline. Your kitchen, your daily plate. Let me show you the science. What is age related macular degeneration, and why do these three nutrients matter? Your retina is a thin layer of tissue at the back of your eye. Within it sits the macula, an area about the size of a pencil eraser, and it is responsible for 90% of your detailed central vision. Reading, driving, recognizing faces, everything that requires focus runs through this tiny zone. AMD is the deterioration of this zone. It comes in two forms. Dry AMD, which accounts for about 85 to 90% of all cases, involves the gradual buildup of small protein deposits called drusen beneath the macula. Think of drusen like plaque building up on the lens of a camera over decades. Slowly, the image degrades. Wet AMD, which accounts for roughly 10 to 15% of cases, involves abnormal blood vessel growth that leaks fluid and causes faster, more severe damage. Now, here is where the three nutrients come in. Nutrient 1, lutein and zeaxanthin. These are carotenoids, plant based pigments that your body cannot manufacture on its own. You must get them from food or supplements. They concentrate specifically in the macula, where they act as a natural internal sunscreen. They filter out high energy blue light, the same blue light that floods every screen you look at every day, before it can oxidize and damage your photoreceptor cells. The AREDS2 clinical trial found that adults with the highest lutein and zeaxanthin intake had a 26% lower risk of advanced AMD progression compared to those with the lowest intake. 26%. That is not a minor statistical footnote. That is more than 1 in 4 people who did not reach the advanced stage. Nutrient 2, omega 3 fatty acids, specifically DHA. DHA is a long chain omega 3 fatty acid and it makes up roughly 30% of the structural fat in your retinal photoreceptor cells. It is essentially a structural material your retina uses to maintain the integrity and flexibility of cell membranes. When DHA levels are low, cell membranes become rigid and more vulnerable to oxidative stress, the cellular equivalent of metal becoming brittle and cracking. Studies published in the Archives of Ophthalmology found that people who consumed oily fish two or more times per week had a 36% lower incidence of AMD. Adults over 60 absorb and convert omega 3s less efficiently than younger adults, which means the dietary threshold you need is higher, not lower. Nutrient 3, vitamin C combined with vitamin E and zinc. The AREDS2 formula, the most rigorously tested nutritional protocol in the history of AMD research, uses a specific combination of antioxidants to neutralize free radicals in the retinal environment. Vitamin C regenerates vitamin E after it's been used. Vitamin E protects cell membranes from oxidation. Zinc is the mineral that helps vitamin A produce a protective pigment in the retina called melanin. Remove zinc, and the entire antioxidant chain weakens. Adults over 60 have significantly reduced zinc absorption in the gut, often 40 to 50% lower than younger adults, due to changes in stomach acid production. This is not a minor gap, it is a structural vulnerability that most people over 60 don't know they have. That's the science. Three nutrients, specific mechanisms, measurable outcomes. Now, let me show you where the deficiencies actually come from in your real life. Now, let me tell you the 5 real world situations where adults over 60 are most likely to fall into nutrient deficiency for their eyes. Pay attention to which of these is sitting in your life right now. I'd bet you've already done at least one of them this week. Villain number 1, the low fat diet trap. You decided a few years ago to eat cleaner, less fat, more lean protein, more salads. It sounds smart, and in many ways it is. But here's the problem: lutein and zeaxanthin are fat soluble nutrients. They require dietary fat present in the same meal to be absorbed. If you're eating spinach or kale with no oil, no avocado, no nuts, you are absorbing as little as 5% of the lutein in that food. The rest passes right through you. A 2014 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that lutein absorption from salad greens eaten without fat was negligible compared to the same greens eaten with a fat source. Myth: eating leafy greens is enough. Reality: how you eat them is everything. Villain number 2, screen time without protection. The average adult over 60 now spends more than 7 hours per day in front of a screen: phone, television, tablet, computer. Blue light from screens doesn't cause AMD directly, but it generates oxidative stress in the macula that depletes your lutein and zeaxanthin reserves faster. Think of it like a sunburn. One afternoon in the sun doesn't give you melanoma, but years of unprotected exposure deplete your skin's defenses. Cumulative daily blue light exposure, especially in people with already low carotenoid levels, accelerates the very process AMD exploits. A Harvard Medical School analysis estimated that adults over 60 with high screen exposure and low carotenoid intake had nearly twice the risk of early AMD progression compared to those with adequate levels. Villain number 3, the fish free plate. This one is especially common in people who shifted away from fish for taste reasons, cholesterol concerns, or mercury worries. Here's the nutritional reality: DHA from plant sources, flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, must be converted in your body from a shorter omega 3 called ALA. In adults over 60, that conversion rate drops to approximately 5 to 8%, meaning that for every 100 grams of omega 3 you get from flaxseed, your retina may receive 5 to 8 grams of usable DHA. Studies consistently show that dietary DHA from marine sources is 15 to 20 times more bioavailable than plant source ALA. If you've removed fish from your diet and haven't replaced it with a high quality algae based DHA supplement, your retinas are almost certainly running below optimal levels. Villain number 4, medications that deplete key nutrients. This one surprises people. Proton pump inhibitors, medications like omeprazole or pantoprazole taken for acid reflux, reduce stomach acid. That same acid is required to release zinc from food. Long term PPI use has been associated with zinc deficiency in multiple studies, with some showing reductions of up to 30% in serum zinc levels. Statins, taken by roughly 35% of adults over 60 in the United States, can reduce levels of fat soluble vitamins, including vitamin E. If you're taking one or more of these medications and you haven't discussed retinal nutrition with your doctor, there is a real gap in your care that no one may have addressed. Villain number 5, dismissing early symptoms as normal aging. This is the most dangerous villain of all because it looks exactly like wisdom. You've been told that your eyes will change as you age, and they will. But there is a very specific difference between normal presbyopia, the gradual loss of near focus that affects almost everyone over 45, and early macular changes. Early AMD can cause slight blurring in the center of your vision that doesn't improve with glasses, mild difficulty with contrast in low light, colors appearing slightly washed out in one eye, and straight lines appearing mildly wavy. People ignore these for months, sometimes years, because they sound so unremarkable. By the time the symptoms become undeniable, the window for maximum nutritional intervention has often closed. Those are the 5 villains. Now let's match them with 5 solutions. I want to share a pattern we see in case reports. This is a composite drawn from the typical profile that hospitals and public health departments document. Margaret is 64. She spent 35 years as a high school English teacher and retired 2 years ago to her home in suburban Ohio. She has a tidy vegetable garden, walks 4 days a week, and takes a daily multivitamin she's been on for a decade. By every standard she can measure, Margaret is doing everything right. Margaret wasn't careless. She was doing what most people believe is healthy. 3 years before her diagnosis, Margaret switched to a low fat diet after a doctor recommended it for her borderline cholesterol. She started eating more salads, kale, spinach, arugula, without dressing because dressing adds calories. She stopped eating fish regularly because her husband didn't like it. She started taking omeprazole for reflux. On a Tuesday in March, Margaret notices that the center of a sentence she's reading seems slightly smeared. She adjusts her glasses, she moves closer to the lamp. She tells herself it's the lighting. 6 months later, her optometrist, during a routine exam, notices early drusen deposits in her right macula. He refers her to a retinal specialist. Margaret asks, "How long has this been developing?" The specialist pauses and says, "Probably 3 to 4 years." The question Margaret asked that nobody had ever asked her. not her GP, not her optometrist, not her pharmacist, was, is my nutrition protecting my eyes? Nobody had ever asked her that question. Not once in 4 years of building toward this diagnosis. I want to ask you something directly. In the comments below, tell me, how many servings of leafy greens do you eat per week, and do you add fat to them? That's it. Greens per week, and yes or no on the fat. I read these comments. The data you share shapes the next video. I genuinely want to know where the gaps are in this audience. The encouraging news is this: early and intermediate AMD often progress slowly, which means many people still have time to change the trajectory. Five villains, five solutions. Each one matched, each one specific, each one you can act on this week. Solution 1: fix your fat pairing. Every single meal with greens. This week, starting today, add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, half an avocado, or a small handful of walnuts to every meal that contains leafy greens. That's the entire intervention. 1 tablespoon. Here's the step by step. First, identify your daily leafy green. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, arugula all work. Second, choose your fat pairing from the list above. Third, make the pairing automatic. It's not a choice, it's a rule. Studies show that lutein absorption increases by up to 400% when consumed with a fat source. Your leafy greens are doing almost nothing for your retinas right now without this step. Expect a meaningful increase in plasma lutein levels within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent fat pairing. Solution 2: add blue light strategy to your screen routine. This is a two-part solution. Part 1: purchase blue light filtering glasses if you spend more than 4 hours per day on screens. Reputable options run between $15 and $45 and are widely available. Part 2: take a 10-minute screen break every 90 minutes, specifically going outside or looking at natural greenery. This is not wellness folklore. Outdoor light has a very different spectral quality than screen light, and the shift genuinely reduces cumulative macular stress. Set a phone timer right now for 90 minutes. That is your first break. Expect reduced eye fatigue within 1 week. Solution 3: add a DHA supplement or return fish to your plate. The clinical threshold is clear. 500 milligrams of DHA per day is the benchmark supported by multiple studies on retinal health. If you eat oily fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, herring, 2 to 3 times per week, you're likely meeting this threshold. If you don't, or if you prefer a plant based option, purchase an algae derived DHA supplement of 500 milligrams daily. Algae DHA bypasses the conversion problem entirely. Algae is where fish get their DHA in the first place. Look for a product that specifies DHA content separately from EPA. Expect measurable improvement in serum DHA levels within 8 to 12 weeks. Solution 4: have a medication nutrition conversation with your doctor. This week, write down every medication you take daily and bring the list to your next appointment. Ask specifically: are any of these affecting my zinc, vitamin E, or fat soluble nutrient absorption? If you take a PPI and your doctor confirms it's for long term use, ask about zinc supplementation. Typically, 8 to 11 milligrams per day for adults is the recommended dietary allowance, and many long term PPI users fall below this. Do not self prescribe high dose zinc without physician guidance. Very high doses can cause copper deficiency. The conversation itself is the intervention. Don't leave it to chance. Solution 5: use the Amsler grid at home, starting this weekend. The Amsler grid is a simple black and white grid pattern used to detect early macular changes. You can print one for free from the American Academy of Ophthalmology website. Here is how to use it. Tape it to a wall at eye level in good lighting. Cover one eye at a time. Look at the center dot. Ask yourself, are all four corners visible? Are the lines straight? Is the center clear and unblurred? Do this once per week, the same day, same eye. If you notice that lines appear wavy, bent, or that the center seems distorted or missing, Those are the exact words to say to your doctor. I've been monitoring with an Amsler grid, and I'm noticing waviness in the central grid lines. That sentence will trigger an immediate referral. The time window that matters. Early to intermediate AMD is the intervention window. Once central vision is lost in advanced AMD, it cannot currently be restored. Act in the window. Here is your Saturday plan. One day, everything you need. 9 a.m. grocery run, 45 minutes, estimated cost $35 to $45. Buy one bag of baby spinach or kale, one container of cherry tomatoes, one bottle of extra virgin olive oil if you don't have it, one bag of walnuts, one package of canned or fresh sardines or salmon, and one algae based DHA supplement of 500 milligrams if you don't eat fish regularly. Total estimated cost $35 to $45. 10 a.m. Print and post your Amsler grid. 10 minutes free. Go to the American Academy of Ophthalmology website. Search Amsler grid download. Print it. Tape it to a wall at eye level near your kitchen or bathroom mirror. Test both eyes. Note how the grid looks today. This is your baseline. 10:15 a.m. Make your first fat paired lunch, 20 minutes. Build a salad. 2 large handfuls of spinach or kale, cherry tomatoes, sliced avocado, or a tablespoon of olive oil based dressing, a small handful of walnuts. That meal alone delivers approximately 8 to 10 milligrams of lutein and zeaxanthin, close to the daily threshold identified in AREDS2. 11 a.m. Set your 90-minute screen break alarm. Open your phone, set a recurring alarm labeled eye break for every 90 minutes during your waking hours. Go outside for 10 minutes when it rings. This takes 30 seconds to set up and creates an automatic daily intervention. 11:30 a.m. Write your medication list for your doctor. Sit down with a notepad or your phone and list every daily medication. Add the question, does any of this affect zinc, vitamin E, or fat soluble nutrient absorption? Put this list somewhere you'll actually bring it to your next appointment. By noon on Saturday, your home is in a completely different risk category than it was this morning. One day. That's the entire intervention. Age related macular degeneration affects 11 million Americans, with rates projected to double by 2050. But the AREDS2 trial demonstrated that targeted nutritional intervention can reduce the risk of progression by up to 26%. The headlines focus on diagnosis rates. The reassurance from the American Academy of Ophthalmology is clear. AMD is slow, and for most people, there is time to act. The real risk for you is not the statistic, it's the daily nutritional gap you may not know you have. Here are the 5 solutions in one phrase you can say out loud right now. Pair your greens, protect your screens, eat your DHA, check your meds, grid your walls. Say that out loud or write it down. 5 steps, each one specific, each one yours to act on this week. Medical disclaimer: I am a health educator and researcher. I am not your personal physician. Nothing in this video replaces evaluation by a clinician who knows your full medical history. If you found this useful, please like this video and subscribe. We're climbing toward 100,000 subscribers, and your subscription helps this content reach people who genuinely need it. Drop your leafy greens number in the comments. I read them all. Your eyesight is not just how you see the world, it's how you recognize the people you love. It's how you stay independent. It's how you continue living life on your own terms. Protecting your vision starts long before blindness. It starts with what you do this week.